Okay, guys, I'm going to put this in the freezer first off. You should know what it is by now. You're old enough to know this is tape, brand scotch tape. And this is pre-preg. It's one layer, though. It's one layer pre-preg. No skewing of it. It's just the same band continuously, round and round. And there's the fabric, if you will, your other product, your whatever you want to think of it as, your Toray. But this is the fabric. Now I'm going to freeze it. Before we do that, though, I want you to see the, sorry about the dirty hands, the expansion, how when I squeeze on, squeezing it, displaces this outwards, bulging it outwards, all right? So squeezing here bulges it outwards, but squeezing it everywhere doesn't bulge it outwards. It contracts it everywhere. But there's no room to contract because this material has nowhere to go. It has nowhere to go, so all it does is it cracks upon itself. It does have the inner layer to buckle, though. It can do that. But the outer forces, it can't. But inside here is atmospheric pressure, I don't know, 12 psi, 14 psi, whatever they have there. But out here is 6,000 psi. Again, apologize for the dirty hands. So you have 6,000 here. So the only way to displace is internally. To stop the internal, remember, I look at this as a bunch of wedges because the outer radius is wider than the inner radius. Our outside pressure here is 6,000 psi on, say, an area here, but it's smaller inside here, so the increased psi is greater inside. But it's a gradation. It's a neutral axis somewhere where, out here, it's the least amount of pressure because it's distributed on a greater surface, and then as it goes in, it's more pressure on the smaller radius, on the smaller area. Hold on. So if I were to equally divide these into ticks out here, and say I came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ticks here, and here I would have 7 ticks also, but it would be it would look more wedge shaped like this. So in other words, the distribution out here is 6,000 psi over this area, but it's 6,000 psi over here, depending on, again, if where the neutral axis is where it decides to shear from each other, or it decides to buckle from each other, shear, and it can be laterally, it could be in multiple ways this could shear. But the pressure, it gets down so far where it can no longer transfer down to here, to the inner wedge. Remember, we had that one engineer that he volunteered his work, and I think their company sucks, in my opinion. Not seeing this simple